Kevin here, also with Stacey from the White Flower. You should know her by now. If you don't, then you have not been watching my videos. So some of you guys requested that we do a video about the different kinds of wedding dress fabrics, maybe some pros and cons of them, what do they look like. And so today we're going to actually take you guys on a little journey around our shop to show you different examples of each fabric. So the first gowns that we're going to start with are crepe gowns, and I'm going to zoom you guys in while Stacey talks a little bit about these gowns. All the ones behind us are mostly crepe. They're by the designer Kelly Faitanini, who is known for, I would say, like more modern, chic, simple gowns.
Very sleek.
Loves her crepe. So I'm going to zoom you guys in and show you what it looks like while Stacey describes it.
For crepe gowns, they're kind of known to being super comfortable. I always call them the yoga pants of the bridal world because they have a lot of stretch. It has a lot of give, so that's one of the pros. Like, brides are super, super comfortable. Like, normally they have a lot of like sleekness to them. Sometimes you'll see them with lace. For example, like this one, it has the crepe with some beaded lace on top of it, as well as this one over here with crepe, a crepe belt, and then a bolder lace pattern, which is more of like a goopier lace. One of the biggest like cons about crepe gowns is they don't leave a lot to the imagination. So if you are insecure or you have a couple of areas that you're just not comfortable with, crepe tends to show everything. So it's one of those things that you just rock it, you love it. If you plan on eating like burritos at your wedding, maybe not wear crepe. But they're very, very comfortable. But they're very, very comfortable, and they're very light. It's not something that at the end of the day, you're gonna be anxious to get off.
Yeah, you could probably honestly sleep in a crepe dress.
You totally can.
And maybe you will.
They're yoga pants. They're very, very comfy.
Yes. Okay, so next we're going to show you guys what an organza material is like, and we actually have an organza overskirt by Kelly Faitanini.
So it's this one right here. Organza tends to be more on like the flowy side. So they usually are more in like the A-line gowns, so fitted at your waist and then they gradually fall. Very flowy. They tend to have some structure to it, so they're a little bit sturdier than a tulle gown. They're not quite as opaque as tulle, so they have a little bit of weight to them, but not super heavy. And then it's just, they're more flowy.
Yeah, it's a very whimsical fabric.
Right. And then, like with Kelly Faitanini, it's designed to go over multiple of her gowns, but you can feature it something like this. Overskirts are becoming super popular. We've had a lot of brides request it, so we are going to be stocking a whole bunch of them. So hopefully they'll be arriving in the next couple months. But what's cool is you have the two different looks. You have your ceremony dress with the overskirt, and then you have your party once you take it off.
Okay, so now Stacey's going to show you guys the difference between a matte Mikado and a silk zibeline.
So to the naked eye, to the people that aren't in the bridal world, they are very, very similar. They have a lot of structure to them. So this is the matte Mikado, and then right over here, this is the zibeline. So a lot of people, when they see these dresses, they're like, oh, it's a satin gown. No, it's actually completely different. It's heavier and sturdier than a satin. So with this one, with the zibeline, you can also see that there's a slight difference. This is a silk zibeline, so it's a little bit on the creamier side. This is a matte Mikado, which is, ironically, it's not matte, it's shiny.
No, very shiny,
yeah.
Not matte at all.
And then if you do like close up, you'll see that there's differences in the grain. So like the matte Mikado has more like grooves to it, more stitching, while this is more on like the straight side, like the sheer side. There's a difference in price too. Whenever you put silk in the label, the price goes up. So silk zibeline is more of a like luxurious fabric over the matte Mikado. So the silk zibeline is always going to be more expensive.
When it comes to lace, there's obviously so many kinds of laces, so we're just gonna cover two. We're gonna cover like a general lace, and then we're gonna cover chantilly lace.
For the chantilly lace, it is, like Kevin said, most of the time underneath. Chantilly lace as a whole gown was super popular, I'd say maybe like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now the lace is becoming more bolder, a little bit more unique, not the traditional look. So most designers like to layer the lace. So the chantilly lace is usually underneath. So it's this really kind of soft, very delicate lace
Yes.
Apparently there's like a really old song that says like Chantilly lace. I hear moms sing that all the time. I've never heard of it, but so this is Chantilly lace. You can see it in here. In here, Martina Liana is kind of known for doing her multiple layers of lace, and she really loves to have that second layer of Chantilly lace. It just gives it a lot of texture, a lot of depth, and then on top of it, like the whole lace world, there's so many lace patterns. There's something like this that's kind of more of like a quartered graphite lace that's beaded, so like a beaded lace. There is a non-beaded lace. Like this one, it kind of has both. So you have like the Chantilly lace that's a really kind of soft, delicate lace, like down here. And then you have the graphite lace on top of it. There's also a floral lace pattern. Like these, kind of speaks for itself. Big floral pattern. There's like beaded linear lace. There's so many different laces.
There's a lot. So when it comes to something like this, you can just say, I like lace.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you have to know the names, because even we don't know the names of all of these big laces, because they're just not that common across the board.
No, and each designer likes to create their own special name for the lace. Just like if you are particular to say like, I like a bolder lace or I like a delicate lace, that's totally fine. We're not expecting you to know the vocabulary, nor do you ever need to know the vocabulary.
Yes. Okay, so now Stacey's gonna show you guys a silk chiffon material and then another silk material from Marquesa. So this one she's holding now is a Netta bin Shabu gown and is silk chiffon.
So silk chiffon is very similar to the organza. It has that kind of flowy feel, but as you can see, it's more opaque. Like a lot of brides love the silk chiffon for like the beachy weddings because it just kind of floats in the breeze. Very light, very comfortable for the Marquesa. This is our new gown that we just got in, slightly obsessed with it. Bows everywhere.
Yes. It's fancy.
So this one is a silk zibeline. One of the things with this kind of silk is that it's never going to lay perfectly flat. So it is a silk, so it's always going to have some kind of like nubs and grooves to it because it is a natural fabric. So if you are a neurotic bride and you're like, oh my God, it needs to be straight and flat the whole entire night, any kind of silk isn't you. But it's nice, it's very luxurious when you put it on. It's super creamy, very comfortable. But that's just one of the things with a silk zibeline gown, is you need to be aware and comfortable that it's not going to look perfect.
Yes.
It's going to look amazing in pictures. It's very creamy and luxurious when you take pictures of it. But like towards the end of the day, it's going to be a little wrinkly, which is okay because it just shows you had a good time.
So now that we have done these guys, we are going to show you some of our ball gowns, which have a lot of tulle and horsehair in them. But now we are in our ball gown room with a bunch of Haley Pages, and Stacey's going to show you guys tulle and horsehair.
Haley Page is kind of the horsehair queen. It's one of her specialties. So she has a couple of different like widths of the horsehair. So this is a double horsehair. People always ask me if it's actual horsehair. No, it's not. But it might have been like years and years, like centuries ago. So maybe that's how it got its name. But if you're allergic to horses, don't worry. So this is a double horsehair, so it's really thin. So it gives you that structure, but it's still kind of wavy. Over here, this is another double one, but it's just different widths. So the horsehair really gives it that structure, so it kind of holds it in place with giving some volume. Sometimes you'll see other designers that have it as like part of the hem, so it gives it that structure so then the hem stays in place. Haley Page likes it for like the fullness and for like the fun factor. Gives it that kind of playful feel. So this part is horsehair, and then this top part is a tulle. There's a whole bunch of different tulles, like there's a whole bunch of other different fabrics. There's an English net, there's a soft tulle, there's tulle, like if you feel a tulle on a veil and you feel a tulle on a dress, they're totally different, but they are tulle. So there's the tulle, and then also, speaking of more tulle, there's a glitter tulle, which is really fun, really kind of shiny, and then a tulle on top of it. With the tulle fabric, I feel like it gives it more of that fairy tale, very kind of whimsical. If you want to be like the princess, most of the time they like a tulle big dress.
It's a very playful fabric.
Yeah. And then again too, it's not super heavy, which is nice. Which how big these dresses are, you think that you'd be super weighted down. It's still not that bad.
So that is a bunch of fabrics. It's not every single bridal fabric,
No,
but I'd say that we hit the most common.
There's so many fabrics.
Yes. So hopefully you guys have an idea now. If you haven't been shopping yet, maybe something that you want, maybe you want to be super comfortable and go with crepe.
Yep.
Maybe like having a yoga pant type material isn't that important to you and you want something more playful like a tulle with some horsehair on the end to give it structure. So now that you know these terms, you can tell your bridal stylist some things that they could pull for you to start with, and it's okay if you end up getting in them and hating them.
Yep.
That does happen. So you can say, I'm actually not feeling the tulle so much. Can we try like a lace, or can we try a crepe? Yep. So giving feedback to your stylist on the fabric, the shape, like just the way it feels, the way it looks on you is always a good idea. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video on bridal gown fabric, and we will see you next time. Bye.